Good day, everyone. I am Grace Catapang. I grew up and live in a coastal community in Calapan City in Mindoro Island, Philippines. This is also where Blue Alliance Philippines, the organization I am representing today, started its work to help the planet one marine protected area at a time. Marine protected areas, or MPAs, are designated zones in the ocean where human activity is regulated to safeguard our marine biodiversity. There are over 18,000 MPAs across the globe established to conserve the world's most biodiverse sites. But we have a huge problem. 70% of them are underfunded. Now, what do I mean when I say underfunded? Living in a coastal community myself and working with Blue Alliance, I have talked to people on the ground involved in marine conservation from coastal communities. One of them is Tate Renato, a bantay dagat, what we call marine rangers or community fish wardens in our local language. They are the ones tasked to enforce marine protected areas, ensuring that no-take zones where fishing is not allowed are actually enforced as no-take zones, or sustainable use zones where only sustainable fishing methods are allowed are actually enforced as such. But he told me that before Blue Alliance started its work in Oriental Mindoro, they didn't have sufficient equipment and resources to fully protect the MPAs. They couldn't catch illegal fishers because their boat was not fast enough. And there was even a time when their boat was rammed and sank in a chase with illegal fishers. Because of reliance on short-term grants and insufficient funding from local government, they couldn't sustain the management of the marine protected areas. So what do we do to bridge this gap? Blue Alliance manages marine protected areas to regenerate threatened coral reef biodiversity. And most importantly, we build innovative blue economy, reef positive businesses to alleviate poverty and generate long-term incomes for MPAs. Our work in the Philippines have positive impacts not just on biodiversity, but also on the local community with improved livelihoods and job creation. We are further expanding our impact in the Philippines with the signing of new co-management agreements with the local governments of Occidental Mindoro and Palawan. These two regions have some of the most biodiverse sites in the world. And with this new co-management agreements, we are expanding our marine ecosystems that we sustainably manage to 380,000 hectares, covering 34 MPAs. So how does this work? An average of 600,000 US dollars per year is required to implement effective management of MPAs, so it's not cheap. This effective management involves law compliance, community development, and of course, science and conservation. Currently, our funding comes from a mix of grants and loans, but in the long term, we aim to create what we call self-sustaining marine protected areas through reef-positive businesses around MPAs. It is called reef positive because beyond the financial contribution to the MPAs, these businesses also provide and reduce specific drivers from also reduce specific drivers of coral reef ecosystem degradation. UBS Optimus Foundation is an anchor investor in this facility since the start of early 2023. These are our blended finance facility model. Blue Finance is our finance facility that receives the impact loans that we invest into the reef positive businesses. The local nonprofit entities, Blue Alliance, receives the grants provided to sustain the MPA management. So MPA management activities include what I mentioned, law compliance and enforcement, community development, and at the same time, science and conservation. We have different Blue Alliance in different countries. We have Blue Alliance in Indonesia, Blue Alliance in Zanzibar, and I am from Blue Alliance in the Philippines. The reef positive businesses that we develop create self-sustaining MPAs because the revenues from them, dividends, revenue sharing, are provided to Blue Alliance to sustain our management efforts. Now, these are our reef-positive businesses in the Philippines that, in the long run, will finance the sustainable management of the MPAs, so we don't just rely on grants and and loans in the long term. This include ecotourism activities through innovative wildlife ecotourism programs and experiences. We also have sales from blue carbon credits certified for mangrove restoration programs and conservation that we develop with local communities with our partner UBS Sustainability Institute. We also have a community-based aquaculture project that will generate sales from mangrove crab and sea cucumber hatchery and grow-out culture. And lastly, a fishery supply chain that specializes in high-quality fish products, implementing sustainable fishing practices around the MPAs, and at the same time, increasing income for local fishers. We are also currently exploring other revenue streams, such as other species for aquaculture and plastic collection and recycling. Managing MPAs is not a walk in the park. It requires several factors that we have to work on in order to fully effectively manage the MPAs. And this include compliance and law enforcement. So we work with rangers, working with stakeholders for them to comply with the rules and regulations of the protected areas. We also have community development, where we work with community stakeholders to build complementary and supplementary livelihood programs that adds to the revenue streams. And of course, science and conservation, because these generate the key performance indicators from our investments on the ground. And lastly, all of these feeds into our sustainable revenue mechanisms because in the end, we are selling the very conservation work that we are doing as part of the tourism product that becomes part of our sustainable and predictable revenue streams. To learn more about the work that we do at Blue Alliance, you may visit our newly launched website, www.bluealliance.earth, or reach out to the following email address. To end, I would like to share the story of our local team and partner communities through this video so you can hear from their perspective as well. Thank you.
Kasi po dito nakatutok ang gawain ng Blue Alliance sa pagkalinga at pangangalaga ng mga marine protected area.
Nagsimula ang implementation ng project dito sa Oriental Mindoro noong 2021. Ito ay guided ng Co-Management Agreement kung saan nakasaad sa agreement ang delegated authority ng Blue Alliance to manage yung mga MPAs.
Blue Alliance has 4 pillars that we're working on. Community development, science and conservation, enforcement and compliance, and also sustainable revenues.
Nung una pa lang na wala pa yung Blue Alliance, wala kaming bangka. Sila yung tumutulong para mas lalong magtibay yung aming samahan na pangalaga sa dagat.
Ayang gayang santuary, yan ang aming ikinatutuwa rin. Karamihan dyan, malalaking isda, nadais yan. Yan ay napuprotektahan ng mga bantay dagat.
With good, healthy reefs around the core zones, you can expect a recovery in like 5 years' time. I believe that we are getting there.
Ganon ka buhay yung corals, tsaka yung dami ng isda na makikita mo. Ito yung nakikita ko ang ganda ng potential kung magbubukas kayo ng diving.
Magkakaroon po ng trabaho ang mga mamamayan ng Calapan dahil sa magkakaroon ng mga dive shop.
Blue Alliance also has embarked on a blue carbon project under its Blue Economy program. Together with UBS Sustainability Institute, for the aquaculture project, we are in the second cycle of our crab grow-out initiative together with local farmers.
Bukod dun sa knowledge kung paano mo, ibig ko sabihin pag-aalaga ng alimango, nandun sila din po ang sumusuporta for financial. Malaking tulong po yun sa aming mga private sector. And bilang isang babae, sabi nga, once na sumuko ka sa gawa ng kalikasan o tao, mahina ka. Para sa akin, it's continuous lang.